Welcome to today's episode. We're going to take a quick look at a story about growing up, facing the past, and how even the brightest stars sometimes get lost on their way back home. I'm joined by an old friend who knows all about the magic and the pain of small-town legends. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here and to talk about a chapter of life that's as complicated as it is close to my heart.
Let's dive right in. We're stepping into a world that feels a little like the famous Stars Hollow, but for Stacey Day, it was her own version of home, full of hopes, mistakes, and second chances. Can you help set the scene?
Absolutely. Picture a small town where everyone knows each other's name, where old buildings hold the sound of hundreds of stories, and the coffee shop feels like the heart of everything. For Stacey, and for many of us, it was a place to dream, mess up, forgive, and heal. But sometimes the lines between friendship and pain, between the past and the present, get a little blurry.
Right. And speaking of friendships, the story really centers around the bond between Stacey, who sometimes slips into her Rory Gilmore persona, and her friend Dave. Tell us about Dave. Why is this story so important?
Dave was more than just another face in town. For Stacey, he was the best friend. Sometimes the king of her world, the one who stood by her, especially during those busy days organizing events at the Haven. He's the kind of guy you call when you need things to run right. Someone you trust with the details and the dream. But just like with Rory and Lane, sometimes hearts get broken and sometimes friendship is the only thing that stays.
There's a lot there. It sounds like not all was sunshine. What happened between Stacey and Dave that changed everything?
It's a story of mistakes, some big, some small. When Stacey's illness took over, it didn't just change her days, it changed her memories and her sense of blame. There was one youthful mistake. A misunderstanding that split things open and cast a shadow over so many good times. For a long time, her illness made it hard to see her part in it, to see Dave's pain, and to forgive either of them.
And somehow, even after time passed, it sounds like forgiveness wasn't easy. Why is that, you think?
When you're hurting, it's so much easier to point fingers, right? For Stacey, the illness was a wall, hiding what she couldn't face, protecting her from truths she wasn't ready to admit. For Dave, carrying blame meant also shouldering regret for things he couldn't fix. But what matters is that, over time, they both changed, grew, and found a little bit of light in all that darkness.
You mentioned their work together at the Haven. It sounds like even after pain, they kept showing up for their community. How did that shared mission help them heal?
Working together on community outreach turned out to be a lifeline. Stacey would hire Dave for events. He was the steady hand behind the scenes. Organizing something hopeful, creating space for others to shine, it gave them a purpose beyond their mistakes. The process of building something good in the world helped them remember that, underneath it all, forgiveness can take the shape of a helping hand.
When you talk about the town, it's more than just a backdrop, isn't it? It's almost like another character in the story.
Definitely. For Stacey, her town was her own Stars Hollow, a place legendary for both its comfort and its secrets. It held the memories of childhood, the echoes of arguments, the stages for forgiveness. Places like the Haven or the old park bench. They're witness to people stumbling, falling down, and eventually getting back up again. Through all the growing pains, the town grew too.
Here's the big question. After all these years, after all the pain and distance, what happened when Stacey and Dave talked again after everything?
It was transformative. For the first time, they faced each other as adults who had lived some life, made peace with their mistakes, and finally were ready to say, "I'm sorry," and mean it, not just to each other, but to themselves too. After that conversation, Stacey felt lighter, like some old chain fell away. And Dave, well, he could finally be more than the memory of a mistake. He became the story of what happens when you grow up and make it right, even if you can't go back and change what happened.
That's really beautiful. So what's next for people like them, for anyone carrying old wounds from the good old days?
The lesson is, you never really outgrow those old mistakes, but you don't have to let them define you either. Talking, really talking, can change the narrative. Hearing is messy, but it is also possible. We aren't kids anymore. And that means we get to write a new chapter, one where the past is honored, but not the boss of us.
That's a message for all of us. Thank you so much for sharing these reflections. And thanks for reminding us that deep forgiveness and understanding are always within reach. Any last words for anyone out there wanting to heal old friendships?
Just start. Reach out. Admit your part. Let the other person know they matter. It's never too late to have that conversation, and sometimes the healing you're searching for is just waiting for you to say hello.
Beautifully said. Thank you for joining me on this nostalgic and healing walk through Stars Hollow. For everyone listening, remember, the sun always rises, even after the longest night. Catch you next time.